Hello and welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bernatovich. I have embarked on a journey to get to know amazingly awesome HR and business professionals with the hope to find out what it takes to do HR like a boss. If you enjoy the show, please make sure that you subscribe and hit that 5-star rating. Welcome again to the HR Like a Boss podcast. I'm your host, John Bernatovich. Really thrilled to have Bryan Driscoll on the show today. Bryan and I met through this very unique social platform that connects podcasters and podcast guests, as well as Bryan mentioned that he saw an HR Like a Boss article in a recent SHRM publication. So gosh, I had to have him on. Really cool guy. Bryan, welcome to the HR Like a Boss podcast.
Awesome, John. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
So I asked all guests, how would they describe the purpose of human resources?
People. There's been a long history in this country of HR being a business protection and asset protection department. In reality, it's a people department. It's a people first, people-centric department. And the purpose of HR, and when I'm talking with my clients and helping them to develop new policies or work through a difficult situation, is to always keep people in mind, because the people are the business's best asset. They're the greatest asset, and that is the asset protection part of HR, protecting the people. And if you don't have a people-centric environment, the morale drops, the attrition goes up, it goes down. You cannot hold on to great employees if you don't value them and show them that you value them. And that's why I tell my clients, especially the last few years, study after study after study shows that happy employees make engaged employees, make productive employees, which makes what? The business money. So even if all you care about is that last one, making money for your business, you should still care about your employees' happiness, because that's ultimately what gets you the profit that you're looking for.
In those conversations you've had with loved ones and clients and prospects of yours, how are those businesses making sure they're being people-centric as they navigate through all the harebrained, crazy things that they're coming to you about as the, I got an issue, Bryan, help me out here?
Simply taking a second. Again, to go to some studies, if you're asked a question and you wait 3 seconds, you are better equipped to hear what the person said, hear what the person is asking of you, and create a formulated, accurate response to their question, whatever the topic may be. And that's the same approach with people-centric HR. Just take a second and think, what benefits the people in this question, in whatever dilemma I'm having, whatever issue I'm facing, whatever HR or compliance matter is in front of me. What is the people-centric response to this? What is the best answer to this dilemma? And always keeping people in mind, having that empathy for others in different situations, understanding that it's not just a piece of paper in front of you, like if you're doing a redlining, and deciding where to make cuts in your business. So looking at it from a people perspective and saying what is the best option here for the whole team, because ultimately that's going to benefit the whole company and the production, that whatever widget you're making, that is going to get you to that business profit that you're looking for.
So I'm curious, what are some of the challenges some of your small business clients have faced when they go and hire an employee, let's say 300 miles away in a totally different state, sometimes in a totally different region? Tell me what you do, the support you provide, and some of the tips you have for the HR Like a Boss community.
Yeah, actually the biggest challenge so many of them face is simply not knowing what they need. And that's where I can come in and help them not only understand what it is that they need, but help them get what they need. Here, a random example, you have somebody in a state like Florida, who's been operating in Florida for years and only hired people within Florida. Now they find, let's say they need a software developer. They can't find anybody in Florida who's great, or maybe it's the start of the pandemic, they've gone remote. Now they hire somebody from California. They find some great remote worker who works with their organization, works with their culture. But now they're paying somebody who's a California employee. Now they're potentially subject to California's more progressive laws than what Florida has, more people protective laws than what Florida has. And a lot of small business owners and HR departments of one just don't know that, don't know that they are subject to those new states' laws. And so it creates some challenges, especially as companies grow. Do we have two handbooks and two policies, one for the California employees, one for the Florida employees? Do we merge them together and go with the California, the most protective state? How do we manage all of that? There's a lot that goes into it, starting with the business registration in California. You've got to pay unemployment taxes. You've got to provide for certain levels of PTO that Florida doesn't have, along with a lot of other benefits that are required. So it's a lot of that truly from the base level up, from the business registration right on up through to years later. How do we handle the discrepancies between having employees in multiple states and the different laws that we have to abide by? How do we make it easy or efficient on the HR administration processes? And that's a different answer for every company, but one that I'm happy to help guide through and provide pros and cons for each way. And you can always start one direction. You can always say, let's merge everything together, just do one policy handbook, and then change direction if you want to. You never set in stone.
How would you describe someone that does HR like a boss?
Empathy. It comes down to that empathy for the people, because it's not, you're not a department that is just looking at numbers. For example, you're not just paying the credit card bill and collecting invoice receivables. You're dealing with people, and you have to have that empathy, and you have to that helps with the trust and transparency that comes along with it. People have to feel comfortable coming to HR to say, I have a problem and here's what it is. And HR has to not only be empathetic enough with that person to sort of put themselves in those shoes as best they can to see what that person is going through, but also have the legal tools and knowledge to be able to deal with that situation, to be able to help that person through the situation, whatever that situation may be. And again, going back to something we talked about at the very top, the HR historically has been sort of a business asset protection. And I think that asset protection is still a way to describe HR, but we're shifting the focus from asset protection being the business's assets of cash to the business's assets of people, the most important asset the business has. And that is how you HR like a boss. You have empathy, you keep it people-centric, and to the point you just made, you stop for a second and think, what is the best solution here? What is the most empathetic solution? What is the people-centric solution?
Bryan Driscoll, thank you so much for being on the show. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope the HR Like a Boss community and grabbed a few pieces of wisdom from the great things that you shared on the show today.
Wonderful. Thank you for having me, John. It was a great time to chat with you about all these challenges.
Thanks for checking out the HR Like a Boss podcast. If it resonates with you, please leave a rating and review, or better yet, subscribe and share with a friend. Until next time, let's continue to aspire to do amazingly awesome HR.